What's good, y'all? It is Freaky Friday.
And today we're talking about how do you start again?
Welcome to the Renegade Relationship Realists with Rev Marquita Pierre McAllister and Rachel Dilling. Please be advised, this channel is rated R for realism.
Hi, I'm Rachel.
And I'm Rev Marquita.
And today we're talking about how do you start again?
How do you start again when you've been in a relationship for a long time? Some of us have been married for years. Some of us have just been with partners for years. And then it stops. You know that you go through a divorce or you do a breakup. And you find yourself possibly in a new world because maybe you've been in the relationship for a really, really long time. And here you are. Now you're supposed to go out and start dating. And what do you do about sex? And when do you have sex? All of the questions start to come up. And the problem with the questions is sometimes it deals with our self-esteem and how we feel about ourselves. I don't know if I can do this. I'm not so sure I should be doing this. I can remember I was actually married the first time, but I was having a discussion with a nephew who was in his 20s, I would imagine also. It's just that the way it worked out, he was still my nephew. So anyway. And he was talking about him dating and what he expected on a first, second date from the woman and all this kind of thing, right?
And what did he say?
Well, now this is years ago.
Right.
Although it's really pertinent now. But it was years ago. And what he said was, well, you know, if I spend $100 on taking her to dinner and stuff, you bet I'm expecting something at the end. And my thing was, what was the something, right?
Right.
And he was like, well, you know, sex and I'm like, oh.
On the first date?
Right. And I'm like, I don't get that. And he's like, first, second, third. Well, if I'm going to spend it. And his thing was, if I'm going to put out that much, I expect her to put out too. And I was appalled. And he saw the look on my face. And he looked at me and said, you've been married too long. He was like, you have an issue.
I think, well, I think those expectations are one of those things that we need to talk about.
That's true. But my thing was when I did divorce the person, I knew I'm in a brand new world.
Right.
Not that it was exactly his world, but I knew I had been in a relationship so long. I'm in a new world, and all the questions started. How do I do this? Am I gonna have sex? Am I not gonna have sex? When? How? Totally. How do you start again?
Yes, and there are expectations. It brought to memory, I was at a party and we're all sitting around a campfire, and it was a bonfire, and one of the girls had gone out with one of the guys and he had spent a good chunk of money and she was completely oblivious. And I was like, well, was it a date? And he's like, well, I don't know if it was a date or not. And another guy chimed in and said something along the lines of, well, if I put that kind of money out, I'd expect something. And of course, me being who I am, I said, well, what would you expect? And he said, at least kissing. And I was like, okay. Well, and I could see that to be reasonable. If we're going on a date, then a kiss is expected.
I get that.
I get it. But sex?
But see, here's the thing. So now we're going back to the values, right?
Right.
You have your values, but now you're in a whole new era. If you've been in the relationship for a long time, you don't know the values of what's going on in today's society.
Well, and I would say that the how to start again goes back to what is it feeling like? Because is it okay to have sex on the first date? I think, yeah, it is okay.
If it's okay with you.
If you're in that space, if it's working for you, if you feel it, but not because it's expected.
And notice what you feel. Or do you have any guilt? Or it's not okay, because if you have even a little bit of that, then don't do it.
Right.
Stay true to yourself. Doesn't matter who you're dating. Doesn't matter what they think. You stay true to yourself. If it feels, when you're starting again, you have to really understand who you are and what your values are. It doesn't matter what society is doing. If it is not right for you to have sex on a first date, a third date, or whatever it is, don't do it.
Right. But then how do you begin again?
You begin.